Welcome to Fat Larry's Customs. Today we're working on a couple of bucket seats for a project. We're taking a generic rugged ridge bucket seat, which you can purchase very inexpensively, recovering it in leather and some nice fabric, putting a little extra foam and a little extra texture to it. Keep watching and tell us what you think. All right, today we're going to do the inset panel for this seat here. One of the things we did is we did a little tuck and roll on here just to add a little texture to this. And so we've got it all laid out here on the new panel. We're reusing a piece that we had made a mistake on, and we've got it all marked out. These panels here are 4 inches each, so you had to go 4.5 inches between. So we're gonna sew these lines, and then we're gonna roll them and sew it so that we get the pleat in there just the way we want. So keep watching and we'll show you how to do this. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna stitch around the edge of our whole pattern so that it holds the fabric to the foam and gives us a place so that it doesn't separate and holds everything together. It makes it easier to sew when we're sewing panels together as well. Now, as you can see, we're sewing this just on the inside of the line because this is how long our fabric is going to be. And so we want to sew it just on the inside of the line. So we'll come back later and we'll cut around our pattern. So we've gone around the edge, and so now we're going to take these lines where the pleats go, and we're just going to sew up those lines as well. Before somebody asks why I back that up on both ends, it's to lock those stitches in there so those stitches don't come out. If you don't do that, you're going to need to pull that back over here on the underside and tie it up or put some glue on it to keep those stitches from moving. But just run that right down that mark. If you have a problem trying to get into the middle, just take the end of this and roll it. Sometimes if you got a lot, if you start rolling it really tight, it'll make it easier to hold that thing and be able to see where you're sewing. Okay, so now we got all our lines done up. We're going to cut off the edge of this to follow around the pattern. One of the questions I get asked is, why do you have those great big monster scissors? And it's because I like them. And they cut really good and they cut good straight lines. Kai 11-inch scissors work awesome. I just want to make sure that if you look at this close, I got about 1/4 of an inch between where I've sewn and where the edge is. And so just give it enough room so that you don't get too close to that seam. Otherwise your seam will bust loose and you'll have a problem with it later. All right, now we got all that done. Let's get rid of all our little strings left over. See, if you look on the back of here, you can see where all our pleats are. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take those pleats and use that as our marker. And we're going to sew, fold that over, and we're going to sew at 1/4 inch right across there so that we create our pleat. Then we're going to come back here and we're going to cut the edge of that off so that our pleat goes. We don't want all that bulk in the back. And once we do that, when we open that up, it'll lay that perfectly flat. So come on over and let's finish this up. All right, so our 1/4 inch marker, if you look at it, it's right here. Now, if you have a problem seeing that, one of the things you can do is you can take a piece of tape and you can put a piece of tape on here. Now, if it was any further than that, we could actually get our guide, and this is a big magnetic guide, and you can stick there, but it doesn't work for 1/4 inch. You can't quite get it quite up to 1/4 inch. But if you have a hard time seeing it, like I do at times, and that's why I wear my grandpa glasses, is because I can see that 1/4 inch line. The other thing you can do is you can take a Sharpie and right where that line is, just draw a little bit of a mark right there. And if you have a hard time seeing that, just fill in that little line with your Sharpie, and that way you can see that line a little better, and that makes it easier to follow. All right. Okay, so there we go. You got it all sewn up. You can see how the pattern follows through. The thing I like about doing them this way, I've seen people that have actually taken these and made individual panels, and then they sew them together. The problem is getting these things to line up. If you're doing it all in one piece, then your pattern, notice this pattern follows all the way down to the bottom, so your lines line up. I tried some in multiple pieces and I was having a problem keeping them lined up so you can get your edge. So you have to make your edge long and then you have to cut it at the end. This way, if you cut it all at one time, mark all your lines, and then sew it and put your pleats on it, all your lines are going to match up just perfectly. So let's go over here and let's show you how to make this form. All right, so now that we got it all pleated, I'm going to take my, my monster scissors and I'm just going to cut off the edge of that. Now I don't want to cut it clear back to my stitch, otherwise you risk a chance of pulling that stitch out, and I've done that a few times. But once you pull that out, you can pull that and it sits nice and flat. But I kind of go right down the middle, so I got an 1/8 inch on both sides. So you got about an 1/8 inch on there. And when you pull that out and lay that out, this and I left a little bit more on. You can feel it just a little bit. This and here, you can't feel that seam at all. So now you can see the back side. And when you lay that out, those things just flatten right out. Turn it over and see how it lays out really nice. All your lines line up, all your patterns line up in there. And so it makes it look really nice. And so now we're ready to go ahead and build the rest of the seat and sew that into our seat cover. Again, shout out to the Bitch and Stitching class with Justin Stevens and Phil Cato. They'll teach you how to do this if you go to their class, one of their seat building or door panel building classes. They do an awesome job. So check out Bitch and Stitching on Facebook, Instagram, or on the web. And keep following us. We're going to continue to build this seat. All right, click on the subscribe button to keep following us so you get more tips and tricks and see how we finish this seat up.